Here at Fox 13, we know big topics have many perspectives, and that's why we've launched a new series of stories that we're calling 360.
Tonight, we break down one of Utah's most ambitious and expensive projects ever, address the homelessness and crime surrounding Operation Rio Grande. Here's Fox 13's Todd Tanner.
On August 14, 2017, state and local leaders kicked off a comprehensive effort to crack down on crime on Salt Lake City's west side. Those behind Operation Rio Grande say it was designed to help the homeless in the process. More than 500 people were arrested for drug possession or outstanding warrants in the first 2 weeks alone. But now the 3-year operation is over. What did taxpayers get for the $67 million cost? Is the city any safer? And were homeless people really helped? In this 360, you'll hear from the Department of Health and Human Services.
Something had to be done.
The Department of Public Safety.
We're definitely seeing a trajectory that's concerning.
Salt Lake City's mayor.
Most of those people didn't go away. They just moved to a different part of the city.
The Salt Lake City Police.
Crime's down in the Rio Grande area.
The ACLU.
Law enforcement chewed up so much of the budget.
Business owners.
It was hell down there.
And residents.
I am so scared for my neighborhood.
But first,
I was out here, no shoes, shooting up every 2 hours.
A woman whose experience with these topics is perhaps the most personal.
This is the park where I was arrested during Operation Rio Grande. I was asleep just over there next to the fence line.
Destiny Garcia grew up in the Salt Lake Valley, a fairly normal life, she says, until she had
relationships that broke me mentally, physically, emotionally. I started taking pain pills. Once those got too expensive and I met somebody down in this area that did heroin, that's all she wrote.
Addiction spiraled into homelessness.
I was in this area for 4.5, 5 years. Shoplifting every single day, numerous times a day to support my habit.
She got caught several times, but
I normally got a citation and let go.
The directive to officers at the outset of Operation Rio Grande: enforce minor violations and arrest for outstanding warrants, no matter how small.
Her name was Agent Pollock, and she pulled me aside and she sat me on this curb. She said, "You clearly need help." When I went to jail on 13 traffic tickets and a shoplifting ticket.
What did taxpayers get? Phase 1 was all about law enforcement. Costs included things like paying extra officers and establishing drug courts.
Phase 2 was all about treatment. 275 additional treatment beds into our system. That was huge.
Phase 3.
The last phase focused on housing and work.
The total cost for the 3 years of Operation Rio Grande, $67 million. The ACLU says the money was not well spent.
It was about preserving a place through almost a military-style operation and making that place safe for developers and buildings and other people coming through.
All total, there were over 7,000 arrests.
What we saw was a revolving door of people picked up for very minor infractions.
When you stop addressing the lower level crimes, you stop prosecuting them. That signals to the drug dealers, it signals to the hardened criminals, hey, we can come in.
Brian Redd of the Utah Department of Public Safety.
It's not as easy as they're just homeless or they're all criminals. It's the gamut in there. And it's really important that law enforcement and social services, crisis services come together.
I didn't have the courage to walk in a place and find out what resources were. In this instance, they were just handed to me. I ran with it. I did whatever they asked me to do. I looked at things within myself I didn't want to, because that's what you're required to do in treatment.
Destiny completed drug court, got her record expunged, found employment.
I have 2 jobs. I pay my own bills.
And is about to buy her own home. She says there will be room there for the one thing she hasn't gotten back yet.
I do have an 18-year-old daughter that hasn't spoke to me. She still hasn't. She's entitled to feel whatever she's feeling, and hopefully in time that we'll be able to have some type of relationship.
Is the city safer now?
Crime's down in the Rio Grande area.
Police say
Those statistics have dropped significantly.
of course, there are fewer people in the area since the road home shelter has been torn down.
Which was really only a place to sleep, didn't even serve food, made people leave during the day, and helped us transform to the homeless resource center model that's working so well today. We just need more of them.
4 new shelters were built elsewhere in the city and county, paid for with other funds, not part of Rio Grande's budget.
It was a success to tear down that shelter. It was a success to get those people out of that neighborhood.
Abs DeLay has lived and worked in the Rio Grande area for 20 years. She says it feels much safer now, but
It just moved them to another neighborhood and scattered them throughout the city.
This area has gotten rougher post Rio Grande.
Bill Coker and Lucy Cardenas own the Red Iguana restaurants.
Our restaurants are 2 blocks apart, and the fastest way to get to our restaurants is right down 800 West, where up to 100 to 120 people congregate there throughout the day and all night. 8th West, even 4 months ago, was not like it has been.
We have prowlers in our backyard. You know, people break into our businesses.
One of their employees witnessed a murder, the second in a year to take place in front of the Wiener Schnitzel.
He's closed on Sundays. They take over his building and his patio on Sundays.
It's not a crime to not have a house. So we don't ask people if they're homeless. We don't track people that are homeless. That's something we've never done. But what we do is track crime and see if there's crime spikes.
Salt Lake police say they're doing more in the area.
COVID is also causing some challenges. The jail population is down right now because of COVID. They've had to put restrictions there. You have the resource centers that have had to decrease, the number of people that they serve because of social distancing.
Just how many people were helped by Operation Rio Grande? The full impact is impossible to quantify, but the state's statistics for the first 2 years of the operation, before the new resource centers opened, tell part of the story. 136 people participated in drug court. 246 found employment, 263 moved on from shelters into housing, 533 received inpatient treatment of some kind.
It worked for me.
This interview marks Destiny's first return to the park since her arrest.
Top of a syringe cap.
Drug paraphernalia litters the ground as much as it ever did, and other homeless people seem to have taken her place.
You know more about that person than most of us do.
Yeah, it's probably broken and hopeless. I thank God that I'm not there anymore.
She has a new favorite spot downtown.
You used to be homeless on these streets, and now you're right up there above them.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's very, very humbling, too.
A massive mural honoring inspiring women of Utah graces the side of a building. Near the top is where you'll find Destiny.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
The ACLU says more people could have benefited from Operation Rio Grande.
Had they reoriented it and made it much more about helping people first and only using jail and incarceration as a last resort, I think you would have seen a much different result.
Was it perfect? No. But was it a good model to continue to work off of? I believe so.
Everyone we asked about Operation Rio Grande seemed to think more mental health care was needed.
Mental health was a part of it with getting new treatment beds. I think, it's accepted that the mental health aspect is a far greater and bigger concern that is still out there that needs to be addressed.
Everyone also agrees the hard work is far from over.
As a population grows, so too does some proportionate amount of the homeless population. And Salt Lake City, the state of Utah, in fact, is growing faster than any other state in the nation. We need to be growing our homeless services because we are a growing state.
Todd Tanner, Fox 13 News, Utah.